Welcome back to another week on the trail with the John Freakin Muir Pod, and this is a very special episode. This is episode 50 and is the season 1 finale.
Very nice.
When I started the pod back in January, Chopper, I didn't know exactly where it would end up, if anybody would listen, if we would run out of material. Well, the pod is going strong with some devoted listeners scattered across the globe. And I've been able to talk to some really interesting and incredible guests over the past 10 months. And today is no exception. To help me end season 1, I want to welcome back the guys who helped me get this whole thing off the ground in the first place. Welcome back to the pod, Chopper, Jukebox, and Big E. How's it going, guys?
Oh, that's great, Doc. You know, I noticed something that every one of your episodes is a very special episode. You have to work on your introductions.
No, it's true. Everyone is special. You're exactly right.
Every day is a brand new special day.
That's right.
Anything from Jukebox? Are you frozen?
No, I'm not. I'm doing well. Just letting everyone get their 2 cents in. Just about as much money as you've made from this podcast in 50 episodes. So we have.
Congratulations.
We have that to work with. I don't know if I'm the only one that is surprised by this, but I thought season 1 had ended already. But I'm just glad to be a part of multiple episodes in season 1, and still waiting for my my appearance check. So yeah, whatever. Hey, I need to see the numbers. I need to see the plays.
Got it. You know what? You're absolutely right. There was an episode where I said, "Hey, this is the end of season 1. We're going to take a break." And then I couldn't help myself. I came back and said, we're not done yet with season 1. So we kept on going.
I think that was the last time all of us got together.
It could be. That was the mailbag episode. Yep.
Yeah, you are a junkie.
Yeah. I'm hooked. I don't know if anybody's hooked on the podcast, but I'm hooked making it. So
we've seen some Spotify Wrapped of some frequent listeners, right? You've been in some top 5s.
Yes. You know, I have to say, I sent you guys a picture the other day. A listener, I think it was on one of the Facebook posts of the pod, attached a picture of his wrap-up of the year for Spotify and showed the John Freakin Muir Pod as his #1 podcast.
Very nice. Good,
good job,
I feel really bad for to make him proud.
I feel really bad for that guy.
Oh, Big E. Hey, another new feature. Another new feature we're going to kick off with this episode is we're going to show this episode on the John Freakin Muir YouTube channel. So not only do you have audio, if you want to see what the group actually looks like and watch this on your screen instead of through your earbuds, pause the podcast right now and pick it up in the same place on YouTube. So there you go. And with having said that, each of us has a preferred beverage with us tonight. Anybody want to share what they've got?
Yeah, I'll do a call out to the Rincon Brewery. I'm having their beached hazy IPA. It's delicious.
The Topa Topa Spectro hazy IPA.
That's a good one.
Okay.
Topa Topa.
I actually have an Elysian Space Dust IPA, one that Doc had actually left here at my place. So I'm just drinking that.
I'm surprised he left.
I left an IPA there?
You left 2. You left 2 Space Dust and a couple of Lagunitas, but I had one Lagunitas, the one I'm allowed to have on a Friday night right after I finish all my chores and work. So I switched to the Space Dust tonight.
Well, very good. In keeping with the group and showing what a tight-knit group we are, I also have an IPA. My brand of choice, Elysian Space Dust IPA, just like Jukebox has. So there you go.
Your background didn't allow us to see that. You're just drinking the good outdoors.
You're drinking Palisades Lake.
It's cold as the Sierra Nevada waters.
Yeah, that's right. Nicely chilled. All right. As usual, I know you guys are regular contributors, so you know all about this, but just a reminder. At the end of the episode, we will try and pick out a pro tip inside of the week that we can share with our listeners to make their next adventure that much better. So cool. Be on the lookout. We might have multiples. Who knows? All right. So the last time we had us all together, I think, was the mailbag episode, which I want to say was something like episode 25. 24, 25, somewhere around there. Yeah. And this is now episode 50. So what has everybody been up to? Who wants to share their major life developments?
Well, I think Jukebox, you have the big announcement. You just showed us your addition to your family.
Oh, yes, that's right. So since our last episode, I believe it was sometime during the summer, right? Maybe early summer, May or June. Since then, I am now a teacher. I'm a teacher. I just got a teaching job, a teaching position at a high school. So I'm looking forward to starting that in January. In addition, I also have a new companion, hopefully a future hiking buddy on trails that permit and not, he'll never live up to, I said buddy, he'll never be as reliable of a trail expert as our friend Buddy, but his name is Huck, and maybe since we're doing the video, I can show you. He's laying right there on the bed. He's a brindle dog. He's a majority shepherd with a couple other breeds. He's a rescue, but those are just some major life developments for me so far.
Very nice. For let's see, big life developments. Not a lot. I got a new job. That's good. So new same career, same industry, but new job. So that's positive. So
More, is it further away or closer?
It will eventually be closer, but we're opening a new office, and until that gets opened up officially in May, I do a little bit more commuting than I would like. But other than that, it's all good.
In the current state of the pandemic, are you working remote or are you going in every day?
I'm going in every day.
Okay.
I'm in one of those essential industries, so it makes it convenient that I don't have to stay at home.
Congratulations.
Which Mrs. Chopper really appreciates.
Don't want to cut into Mrs. Chopper's free time.
No.
Yeah, and working in another essential industry, still my job makes me go into hospitals pretty regularly, so just trying to stay comfortable with that. Things fluctuating back and forth, but after about 6 months of isolating alone, I decided that probably wasn't a good idea, so got a new place, got a roommate who is hopefully being quiet in the other room. But it actually allows me during quarantine to actually talk out loud and not just to myself,
very nice.
Completely crazy. So it's been nice.
Talking to yourself is fine. It's when you start answering yourself that's the problem.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It was like day 3, day 4, just kind of babbling on a trail type thing. You're just like, I'm just delirious. I don't know what people look like anymore.
Yeah, a couple of big developments in my life. Number one is I got the garage cleaned up.
Oh, nice.
That was huge. Yeah, so we tore down all the wood shelving that we had. The house, we moved into the house in 1999 with this. It looked like old shelving at the time, and so 21 years later, we tore it down and put in some nice roof racks hanging from the ceiling that now hold all of the boxes. Got a big industrial size shelf for one side of the wall. Got everything out of the way. The garage looks a lot bigger, a lot cleaner. So the Jukebox has seen it. I don't know if
you can go out and buy a bunch of stuff to fill it with.
That's right.
That's the goal.
Right. And then the other big news is the house is looking bigger because we're down to one kid in the house.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Jukebox has been gone for a little while, but his older sister got her own place with a roommate, and she's been out for about 3 or 4 months now, and so it's a big change. I find myself sitting on the couch next to Mrs. Doc with nobody in the house, and we've got to talk to each other now. So
yeah, it actually works out pretty good. Although the daughter's coming home on Friday for Christmas break, so we'll have a full house again.
Yep, very good. And is the daughter with the same guy?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. How many years is that now?
This will be what,
like 5 or 6? Yeah,
5 or 6.
Steady.
Yeah, good stuff. They made it through college, and she's in grad school, and I'm pretty sure she's going to be here for about a weekend, and then she's going to go visit him for about a week in Arizona. So good stuff.
All right. So I'm still making that long distance relationship work.
We never expected it, but it's working great for them. It's all good.
Very good. Have you guys consumed any adventure media out there? Any good documentaries or books or anything to stay connected to the trail that way?
Watched a couple of Jimmy Chan stuff just because it's just fun to watch. It's just amazing the footage he does.
Jimmy Chin?
Yeah, what did I say?
Chan.
Oh, sorry. And then stumbled across a group that was on the JMT. What was his name?
Billy Yang.
Billy Yang. Yeah, watched a couple of his things. He's kind of an interesting guy. He's the LA native. I think I'm assuming he's in the entertainment industry the way he puts it together, but he's got some pretty good videos out there. Those are fun to watch.
Yeah, speaking of Billy Yang, you sent me a link to his documentary. I think it's like 46 minutes on YouTube about the John Muir Trail. Really well done. Really enjoyed it. And I actually found his Instagram account during while I was watching the video and sent him a message. And before I was finished watching the documentary, he had gotten back to me and agreed to come onto the show. So he'll stay tuned for that. He's coming up on, I think, episode 7 or 8 of season 2.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, he's got a good one where he goes through his whole pack and how he puts it together and how he weighs it. I thought of you when I saw that. It's like, this is exactly what Doc loves.
Yes.
And then he did a overnight up on top of Mount Baldy, which was kind of fun.
Ooh, that's rough.
It was training for the JMT.
Right. What about you, Big E?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Just in the general adventure sphere, I can't remember her name right now, and I feel I like intentionally looked it up. I totally forgot her name. I can't find it. The first woman to free solo El Cap in a day. I can't
Harrington.
remember.
Crazy story.
Yeah, Harrington. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. That was awesome by her. Just adventuring stuff. The Amazing Race is back on. We grew up watching that as kids. Just excited to have that back on because that's another backpacking experience I've had. Just backpacking around Europe. That's been fun. But probably the biggest adventuring stuff I've been doing is just playing a ton of Dungeons and Dragons. Really, I'm just a big nerd. Just going on those crazy adventures, man.
Old school adventuring, right?
Old
there.
school. It's as wild as your brain wants to make it.
It's got to be pretty wild then for you.
Exactly.
Well, that reminded me. We watched that World's Toughest Race. Have you watched that one on? Was it Amazon?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to mention that. If nobody else did, I was going to mention
that. Was a good one.
I forgot we watched that one.
So I've had a couple of contestants on
That's
this on the pod.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Brett Gravelin from Team Curl,
right,
was on. He was a great interview. A lot of fun to talk to him, and he regularly comments on my Instagram posts, which is pretty cool. Nice. And then he recommended I talk to Hunter Leininger from AR Georgia. He was the 18-year-old,
right,
the young kid. He was a good interview too. So yeah, that was a fun show. That race is incredible.
It was. It looks like it's like just totally insane. It's like I can't imagine that team from New Zealand that won. They didn't sleep. They just motored, and it looked miserable in some of those sections.
It's terrifying. Oh, this is just a fun little side. I think I only told Chopper about this. So a couple months ago, I went up to Alaska for work. It was a long story, but on the flight up there, I'm talking to this older couple, and they're like, "Oh, why are you coming up here?" I was asking them. They're like, "Oh, we're picking up our daughter who works for the National Forest Service." I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And like, what was she doing? Oh, she was doing some surveying stuff, but her big project was she was leading the removal of the Alex Handless bus from Into the Wild, and they were showing me on their phone videos that she took in front of the bus as they were lifting it up, like in the big Chinook helicopters taking it off. It was pretty cool. And then
did they remove it because too many people were just going?
Yeah, that was the thing. It was too many people were going out there, and they were having to go out and save them because they didn't want more people dying out there.
Right.
It originally was, I think, only just like a way marker. It wasn't intended to be like a camp out there. Right. It was just kind of like an emergency wayfinding place. But yeah, that was pretty cool. And they had like photos of it in like they put it into a clean room. They're going to refurb it and like put into a museum. It's going to be pretty interesting.
Interesting. Cool.
Yeah. Just weird little coincidence.
I've got a couple of adventure stories, different types of stories too. The first one, like Big E, I also heard about Emily Harrington, but I listened to her on the Joe Rogan Experience, and just kind of like, I feel like usually he'll interview people who have a book coming out or a documentary or a movie, kind of just to boost them into that sort of viewership. But
he got that from me.
just hearing about her stories and kind of, how she grew up in a different time than the OG rock climbers, when she actually went to climbing gyms, and most of those guys, you'll watch all the documentaries. I'm sure you've covered, Doc, of, those climbers who used to just live in Yosemite for years and years and years.
Valley Uprising, I think that's
Valley
really
Uprising.
good doc.
Yeah. With what's the guy's name? Robbins, or am I saying that right? Royal Robbins. Royal Robbins. There you go. Yep. And then another sort of adventure genre. I myself I picked up a book that I had read a while ago called Undaunted Courage, which is about Lewis and Clark's expedition into the Louisiana Territory. And it was just pretty amazing. A lot of what I loved from the book is reading about how, Meriwether Lewis grew up and where he grew up. And I mean, we talk about us as weekend warriors, we're taking that week off and climbing the mountains on the JMT. But, those people, they lived there. And it was as a young boy, they learned this is the way that nature works, and you either have to fit in or you won't live very long. So it was pretty interesting kind of, reading about how hikes happened 200 years ago versus today. And the last thing I would say, kind of an adventure story myself, I don't remember if this happened before our last episode, but my girlfriend had a roommate before this current lease that we are in. And her roommate decided to drive out to Lancaster to take photos of a super balloon going on with these flowers. So she ended up taking the freeway and going all the way out to Lancaster, ended up taking a side road and going off kind of where you would never really go off, just down this road a while until she got to the outskirts of the Lancaster prison. So a prison out there. And fancy that, she got her car stuck in sand. So not having AAA, Jukebox answered the call of duty along with Ms. Jukebox, and we went out there and rescued her. We bought 2x4s and brought them out and kind of wedged them underneath the tires of the vehicle and pushed as hard as we could. And it was a great success story, but definitely unnecessary adventure. But it happened. So that's a few things I've done.
Lucky nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
This is what we do when there's COVID shutdowns. We talk about rescuing cars that are stuck in sand. There's got to be something better than this.
Nice. I've got a couple 4 things for you in terms of adventure media. One is I gave Jukebox my copy of Journeys North by Barney Scout Mann. That is a memoir about the PCT trip that he took in 2007, and it is a great book. After reading that book, I feel like I've been on the PCT. I feel like I'm very familiar with all parts. So he did a really good job. If you have a chance to check that out.
As soon as Jukebox drops off at my house.
And then the other day, for a future episode, I talked to Jay and Michelle Wilson about Jay's book called Elevation Gain. You can't see it.
It's blending in.
I'm trying to show it on the video here, but it's not working with my background. But Elevation Gain, about their JMT trip in 2019, that was pretty good as well. So many things they talked about so many things that he talked about in the book really resonated with me, just in terms of everyday hiker life. And when we were going up to Trail Crest, kind of measuring our progress on Mount Hitchcock across the way. I mean, there's so many things that he verbalized in his book that were, in my head during our trips. So it was a really fun read.
Sorry to interrupt, Doc, but I just saw you put that book back, and I'm wondering, now that we're moving to maybe another medium of media here, of the video, that you said there's less kids in the house. Why are you not creating a JFM podcast studio where we can see what's actually going on? If we're incorporating the video, we need a studio, we need a visual. Bring the readers in. You just put that book up into, I don't even know where. We don't know where that book came from.
All in good time, Jukebox. The podcast desk has been ordered. It's on its way. I'm just waiting. I'm biding my time.
You got the boom mic gonna come in, and
that's right. Pull it down and
soundproofing on the walls.
Get a nice set of headphones. Yeah, it's gonna be sweet.
Well, E and I actually did a trip over the summer. We went up to Yosemite The plan was just to do was the Glen Allen Trail is what it is. It's not too long. Was it 2 nights? We started at Tuolumne, Lake Tenai, and then we'll go around to Tuolumne Meadows. And unfortunately, that was the day the creek fire started. So as we were pulling into the national park through the Tioga Gate, the clouds were coming in, the smoke was coming in. So it was a cool hike. I would definitely recommend it. It wasn't super hard. It was like 8 miles max each day because we were going between those High Sierra camps.
Right.
So it was real easy, good trail, and I bet the views would have been spectacular if it wasn't so smoky.
Yeah, I think the hardest part was we set up camp and then the extra hikes that we did on top of that, trying to hike Mount Hoffman at May Lake, and then just hiking down to the Water Wheel Falls down by Glen Allen were probably the harder. But yeah, the smoke really kind of sucked, but the sunsets were fantastic.
Yeah, we went to Mount Hoffman on top of that. And the whole goal is if you've been to Glacier Point and you look basically up the valley, you're seeing the other end is Mount Hoffman. So we had this plan and we we're going to turn around and see the opposite. And you could barely see the outline in the clouds of Half Dome. It's like, if I didn't know what that was, we would have no idea. So we get up there, it's like, well, I bet this is really nice on a clear day. Let's go back down.
Better or worse air quality than when we were going up to Donahue Pass?
Worse.
Yeah, wow, that's bad. I mean, that was bad when we were up there.
Yeah, it was really bad. Really bad.
It was like when we were on that trip, it was like got to the top of Donahue and it came over us. It was smoke all day, 24/7, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of
driving up to 395, it just got thicker and thicker and thicker.
Yeah,
and we didn't realize that was the time that they were helicoptering those people out of Edison Lake area.
That's right.
That's right. At the same time, we had no idea what was happening.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, I talked to the Reynolds family. It was a mom and a dad and 3 sons, all teenagers or younger, and they were battling the effects of the creek fire towards the end of their JMT hike, and talked about the same kind of thing. Great sunsets, but felt like they're being chased the last few days by the smoke. So. Very good. I've got a couple other media recommendations. I stumbled across this documentary on, I think it was Amazon Prime or Prime Video, called Ultraman. And it was the story of this guy, Luke Bolschweiler, Bolschweiler, Luke Bolschweiler, and his SCAR attempt. And SCAR is an acronym. It stands for Smokies Challenge Adventure Run. And it's a 72-mile piece of the Appalachian Trail in Tennessee and North Carolina. And his goal was to set the FKT, the fastest known time. And so the previous record was 14 hours and 50 minutes to do those 72 miles on the AT. I won't reveal the ending and what happens, but it was pretty dramatic.
Those ultra marathoners and super distance people are just insane. I know you've had a couple on the pod before. It's such a different world.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm too old and I don't have the right body type, but I can't imagine running that much.
What amazes me is the 2 fast packers that I talked to and how they met on the Moab 240, and the 240 represents the mileage of that trail run, 240-mile trail run, which is just
run it.
That's bonkers.
The guys who did the JMT, they did it in just under 6 days, and they said
those are the same 2 guys. Yeah.
When people, go ahead, Biggie.
No, that's like running 5 miles an hour average up all of these crazy passes, down all of them. Like my knees just hurt thinking about that. That's terrifying.
Yeah. So Gabe and Kevin, those are the fast packers, the guys that did the Moab 240. They decided they were going to run the JMT. And then they got to the JMT and realized that they couldn't run the JMT. And so they only had a week to do it. And so because they couldn't run it, they had to extend their days, the length of their days that they hiked. So they would hike 18 hours a day and get a few hours of sleep and get up at 3 a.m. and start all over again. And they did it in I think 6 days.
Yeah, I don't know how you could consider that enjoyable. It's head down crazy.
Yeah, Kevin actually told me, he gave me the secondary title for the episode. It was Gabe and Kevin Fast Pack. Actually, Kevin gave it to me. Gabe and Kevin Fast Pack the JMT, or How Not to Hike the JMT.
What was it the deal that they came up with the ideas? Because one of the guy's wife said, you got 1 week for vacation, and that's it.
That's right. They said, no problem, we'll just run it. And then they couldn't run it. So
what state of mind do you have to be in to run one of these ultra distance races? You know, like you think about a marathon and 99% of people say, okay, well, I'm not doing that. I'll do a 5K, you know, but then you have that upper echelon of people who are like, no, I'm going to run 100 miles on no trail in these ultra marathons or those Barkley marathons or even just 100-mile. What do they call those? Like there's 100-mile races, aren't there? Of just
ultra marathons, yeah.
Ultra marathons. So I don't even know what type of demons you have to have for that to be something in your wheelhouse.
So like Chopper said, I've had a few people who on the pod who have done that, and I've asked them that question, you know, why? Why would you do that? And it's the answer from a lot of them is that they're trying to find their limit. And I said, have you found your limit yet? And they said, unfortunately, no. And so they keep doing these things to try and find their physical limit. And it's not only physical, it's mental too. I mean, it's very much a mental game.
That's how you end up dead though. You know, when you keep trying to find the limit, it's kind of like, hey, well, let's not outrun ourselves here.
I said, thank God I found my limit already. Jeez.
Well, we ran into a group of that. It was by accident. We were doing hiking up Baden Powell last summer.
Oh, yeah.
We happened to stop in the middle or got stuck in the middle of a 100-mile race.
On the PCT.
We were going up. It's on the PCT, this race. They were basically starting from Wrightwood, if anybody's from the Southern California area, and they were finishing in Pasadena. And we were on the trail at the same time. And we were just so afraid of we're going to be in their way. It's going to be terrible. They were the nicest people. As they passed us by, they were like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? And, you know, out for a hike today? This is in a beautiful trail. And to a person, they were all super cool. And it's just a different mindset.
Nobody on a 100-mile trail run should be chipper.
No.
Because they were walking very fast up the trail. And as soon as we got to the top and they hit the cutoff, they all took off.
And that was the thing. Like, as we were hiking up, they would come by, take a break, talk to us, and then go, okay, and then just keep running on. And there were a couple doing them without shoes. I remember that too.
It was nuts.
Yeah.
I think we hit them about mile 20 or something like that.
Yeah. And I think it was like, what was the cutoff? It was like 25 hours was
something
the cutoff or something like that.
It's pretty steep through there because, as I say, most of it's on the PCT.
Yeah.
So it's pretty intense section.
Yeah. Jukebox mentioned a little bit ago, I think it was Jukebox, mentioned the Barkley marathons. Did you mention that? Yeah. So that was good. Another one of my recommendations is I found a second documentary on the Barkley marathons, and
watch this one.
Wait, really?
It is called Where Dreams Go to Die.
It's very appropriately named.
Yes.
It's hard to watch.
It is the story of ultramarathoner and trail runner Gary Robbins and his 2-year quest to complete the Barkley marathons.
Oh, I gotta watch that.
It is a must. It is a must watch. And you guys know I'm borderline obsessed, maybe even full on obsessed. Yeah, I'm full on obsessed with the Barkley marathons. And I actually interviewed. It's season 2, episode 1. So the very next episode after this one is an interview with Outsider of the Year Michael Wardian, and he is a long distance runner. Just all kinds of incredible athletic events under his belt. And I discovered during the podcast, I didn't know beforehand. I guess I didn't do enough research, but I discovered during the podcast that he had competed in the Barkleys twice. And so I finally got a guest on the pod who had done the Barkleys and was able to speak to it directly. It was awesome. So I highly recommend you guys tune into that.
I was going to ask a bunch of questions, but I'm like, you know what? I'll just wait till the episode.
Yeah.
For something like the Barkley Marathon, I mean, if you've run, like I'm sure all of us have done either like, you know, a Spartan race or a 5K, a 10K or a marathon, something like that. I'm just thinking of when I run a marathon and I'm on the bus with people, you know, going to the starting point or whatever the case may be. And it sort of does feel like this culty atmosphere of like, okay, we all like to run and do something that nobody else really likes to do. And I can't imagine how much that feeling intensifies with something like a Barkley Marathon. Like the group that goes and does that, I mean, that's like a horror movie. That's like a scene out of the Saw. Like, hey, you got to run this thing or however many times, and and there's no trail, but you just kind of have to find the path as you go. And I just can't even imagine what that group of people would be like.
Yeah,
I don't want to give
where dreams go to die. The other thing is they talk more about is the support groups, because that's one of the things in this story is they can't go out on the trail and actually film them. He really limited where they could film, and it was basically at the campsites. So you get to see those people are just hanging out there the whole time, and that becomes their own little world, and they're all become buddies and best friends. And
I just remember in the original Barkley Marathon's documentary, they're sitting there, and as the person is just shoveling food in their mouth, they're like taping up their blisters, they're like scrubbing their legs down and everything like that. And Jukebox, kind of going on your thing, there was a Spartan race that Chopper and I did in Breckenridge, Colorado, and at the same time they were doing what was known as like an Ultra Beast or something like that. It was 2 beasts. And it's if anyone in the pod knows about Spartan races, a beast is a 14 plus mile, 35 plus obstacle, I think, Spartan race.
Something like that.
And it's like the challenge to do, sprint super beast. And this guy was doing an Ultra Beast, which is you do the beast twice in one day. And
he had done it the day before, and he was doing the sprint with us.
Yeah, that was he's just like, I want to keep doing it. It's just like, you're just in a different. These people are just in a different mindset, but at the same time, all of us were like, "Whoa, that's so cool! Like, that's crazy that you're gonna do that! Like, awesome!" Like, where the average person would just go, like, "You're insane."
Yeah, to give you some insight along those lines into Michael Wardian, he did 7 marathons on 7 continents in 7 days, twice.
It's 7 days in a row. How do you
7 days in a row?
That is
a marathon on Antarctica. I gotta listen.
Gotta listen.
I am very excited for this.
But before we move on the topic of Spartan races, that reminds me, I also did listen to a podcast with Joe DeSena, the founder of the Spartan race.
He's an intense guy.
I want to get your opinion on this because apparently he has, or when his children were around the ages of like 12 to 14 in the teenage range, he said that he had started a camp over summer with young teenagers and kind of just keeping them occupied, because they don't have school and what do? So he started this like fitness camp in summer for them. And the kids, they didn't have phones. It was like a boot camp. And these kids were begging their parents to come pick them up and saying, "Hey, you have to come get me out of here. This is horrible." And Joe would call the parents and say, "Hey, no, they're doing fine. Like, your son's complaining about this. We have an 11-year-old girl that's doing all of this and that." And the parents are like, "What are you talking about? Toughen up," like to their kids, like, "Son, you're staying there, And I'm thinking, like, these are some programs I could get behind, putting these kids, making them work like that. It sounds like fun.
Version of Outward Bound.
It's the old Simpsons episode of Camp Krusty.
Scared Straight. Chopper, did you say Scared Straight?
I did.
Oh, very good.
Well, our next Spartan race, Jukebox, we'll have to pull you into it. It's good times.
I'm interested. It looks like fun. So what is it basically? It's just I don't even know.
Yeah, so it's trail running in the hills, usually where, in Southern California, plus like obstacles and stuff like that. Just the one we did last year was pouring down rain, and Chopper and I took about a 100-meter slide down a really steep hill with a lot of rocks and just things catching you and,
it was raining and super muddy, and coincidentally, it was exactly a year ago.
Oh, yeah.
And
we need full disclosure here. You got to tell Jukebox what was the distance of that race?
That was a sprint, so it was probably 5 miles, maybe 4, and maybe 20 obstacles. Nothing.
Yeah.
And how long did it take to go 5 miles?
About an hour and a half, yeah.
Which was the one where it took you like 12 hours?
That was the beast, and we did that on Snow Summit.
Up in Snow Summit. You go up and down Snow Summit twice.
We were like coming out of the starting line, you had to scramble up a double black diamond on that race. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'll start with the little one first, whatever that's called. I'm just getting back into good running shape right now, so I'm not even in JMT shape right now.
We'll play in next year because every year in December they have it in the north end of LA, up in Cal State Lake. But last year it was raining so bad, these hills just became giant slip and slides, and we were trying to walk down this hill, and I slipped on my butt and just couldn't stop.
And I came right after him.
And he is doing about 90 miles an hour coming right at me down the hill. He stands up and his entire back end of his shorts and underwear are just gone. So
I have it like underwear, shorts completely ruined. I found out later, like 2 days later, I was having a work dinner and dressed up nice for it and reached for a glass of water and realized that I had bruised my ribs, and I like stopped like halfway through, like trying to grab a glass of water. It was horrible.
It was a good time. He just about took 3 or 4 people out like a bowling ball and bowling pins coming down the hill. It was pretty fun.
Oh yeah.
But that's an atypical one.
That was
making it sound really attractive.
Well, in the probably the best one.
The one we did in Breckenridge, we did with my daughter when she was going to school in Colorado. So I think you're pretty good there, Jukebox. You can handle it.
Oh, Jukebox! You see what he's doing there? He's doing the 11-year-old girl can do it.
You know her. You can't have her one-upping you.
You know what? You could have said anybody did it and then I could do it, and I'd have to rise to the occasion. That's just nature. I just have to now. I have to do it.
All right. Hey, guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back from the break, I've got another quiz for you guys to take. So sharpen your skills. We're going to come back and take a quiz. Be right back. And welcome back. All right, guys, I looked around. Since our last quiz was so successful back on the mailbag episode, I decided, hey, I need to find another quiz for us to take. This is a survival quiz, backpacking survival quiz, and it was from, I believe, backpacker.com. I hope I'm giving the correct credit. So I've got 15 questions for you. Do we want to do individual answers or consensus answers like last time?
Oh, let's do it as a group. It's more fun.
Okay.
Also, Doc, I feel, you're taking these breaks in the middle, and people, the viewers might think, oh, is he giving them the answers to this quiz and whatnot? And this is, contrary to popular belief, this is not some low-budget television entertainment production. I mean, this is the real deal. We didn't get any briefing. It was a quick water break, bathroom break, and we're back, just so everyone knows.
That's right. No advantage here. That's not what kind of show this is.
Yeah,
I think half of the entertainment's us getting it wrong. So
that's right.
Discussing it, debating it, and then getting it wrong.
That's right. The discussion where you guys are right on the right answer right at first, and then you talk yourselves out of it is classic. Okay. So 15 questions. It's a backpacking survival type quiz. So here you go. Number 1, halfway into a week-long hike in Glacier National Park, you and your buddy have lost the trail. What's your next move? Yeah, I'm going to give you 4 choices here. It's multiple choice. So what's your next move? A, shortcut cross-country back toward the path to avoid wasting daylight. B, retrace your steps to the last known landmark. C, stop, pitch your tent, and start signaling for help. Or D, climb to the top of the highest nearby peak to get a better view.
Ooh.
I want to say B.
Is that the landmark one?
Yeah,
I like the landmark answer.
Yeah, backtracking makes sense because if you try to climb to the highest mountain, that increases your risk of getting more lost too.
Right.
I feel like.
And if you're already lost, pitching a tent may not be the best thing to be doing, and waiting for help.
And
And the other one we don't remember, so it must not. That must.
No, it was like shortcut back to the trail, but I'm like, if you don't know where the trail is.
Yeah, I think I'd go with the landmark one.
Let's backtrack.
All right. That's your answer? Final answer?
Yeah.
Okay. B, that's right. You have company, supplies, and gear, so solve this yourself. If you're still off the trail after a day or 2, try C. Following option A is a major reason hikers get lost, but B is the correct answer.
All right.
So, all right, you guys are 1 for 1. Very good.
You survived.
You've survived.
We're still alive.
Still alive. All right, number 2.
This is one of those Bear Grylls Bandersnatch episodes where we can decide whether he's going to eat the bear feces or go ice fishing.
I would recommend ice fishing.
Jukebox picked bear feces.
I did just to make him eat it. I did. He
He
ate it.
Number 2, you have a cell phone and 5 bars. Which of the following are legitimate reasons to call for rescue? Choose all that apply. Okay. Legitimate reasons to call for rescue. A, you're lost on day 2 of a 5-day backpack. B, you fell 15 feet, got knocked out, then woke up woozy and confused. C, your hiking companion dislocated his shoulder. It's back in now and pretty sore, but it works okay. D, just before dark, your 6-year-old brother wandered away from camp. You can't find him and rain has started falling. And E, your new boyfriend was showing off when he pitched over a cliff with a full pack. He's conscious, but his lower leg is crooked and he's squealing in pain.
Oh, God!
Do you like this guy? Wow. So I would say, real quick, Doc, go through A real quick.
Okay, so A is you're lost on day 2 of a 5-day backpack.
All right, that one's a maybe. All right, what's 2?
Yeah.
B is you fell 15 feet, got knocked out, and woke up woozy and confused.
That's a definitely yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you're saying yes on B. Okay.
Yeah.
C
Yeah.
is your hiking companion dislocated his shoulder. It's back in now. I'm pretty sore, but it works okay.
I've personally dislocated my shoulder several times. You're okay.
Okay. Intentionally?
I'd agree.
Nobody intentionally dislocates their shoulder unless you're like, Houdini or something trying to get out of this. No, I wouldn't recommend intentionally popping your shoulder out.
Okay. So far we're just on B then so far. Right?
Just on B.
Okay. D, just before dark, your 6-year-old brother wandered away from camp. You can't find him. It's starting to rain.
That's
Yeah.
a yes.
That's
Okay.
That's
So
big.
B and D. And then E is your boyfriend goes over the cliff with a full pack. He's got a crooked leg and he's squealing.
I'm going to
Yeah.
say yes to C, E also.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's check the answer here.
You guys all
Correct
good with that?
answer, B, D, and E.
All right.
Nice. Head injuries are always serious due to
Yep.
possible brain swelling. Small children are at risk for hypothermia because of their body to mass ratio. And the boyfriend is going nowhere with a displaced leg fracture. So guys, 2 for 2.
Woohoo.
So that means no matter how much your hiking companion is complaining about his dislocated shoulder, you holster that phone, baby.
That's
That
right.
thing ain't coming out. All right?
You can still walk.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no boot on your shoulder. Let's go. Suck it up.
No, yeah. Okay.
I had to walk myself into the hospital one time to get my shoulder back in the socket. No one was helping me.
Was that when you got off the helicopter?
No, that was a different trip.
Okay. Got it. All right.
All right.
Number 3. It's day 8 of your through hike of southern Utah's 812-mile Hayduke Trail. Your water bottles are empty, and the map doesn't show any springs on this high plateau.
You
Now
die.
what?
You die.
Yeah, you're dead.
Not an option. Here you go. A, drink any urine you produce. B, rest in the shade, then retrace your steps to the last available water once the sun goes down. C, find a creek bed and start digging. You'll find the water table soon. Or D, follow a cattle trail. It will always lead to water.
Wow, that's a tough one.
Yeah. You want
I
it
feel
one
like
more
it's-
time?
So if I'm in the middle of Utah, I'm looking for one of those new obelisks.
In your yeah.
It's not an obelisk. It's a drinking fountain.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't think you're definitely not digging, right?
No,
You're not digging.
yeah.
Digging
Because-
is not good in Utah.
No.
Okay, so that's C. So you're ruling out C. No digging.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm not sure, but I don't think you are recommended to drink your own urine. But I'm not positive.
I think the first run through it's technically sterile, but I think I want to say that was in 127 hours, but that's like absolute last resort. But I also don't think hiking at night while you're dehydrated is a good idea.
Yeah, it's in 127 hours and also dodgeball.
Yes. Yes. Rip Torn has some great quotes about that.
Yes.
The cattle trail makes a little sense to me because there's obviously animals there, and they're not going to have cattle out in the middle of nowhere without any source of water.
I feel like
I don't know
the
if I would recommend
cattle.
cattle trail though.
You
Yeah.
find
I
the
feel like
cattle
the
trail
cattle-
and you follow it until you find skeletons, and then you stop
you
and go back.
I'm going to say as aggressive as it is, like, well, that's the thing. It said any urine, like.
Drink any urine you produce.
Oh. So you're not with somebody else. Got it. I'm leaning more towards either the cattle or the retrace your steps.
I think that retrace your steps is probably a better answer because you don't know for certain what a cattle trail is going to lead to or how far that is until you get water.
And you don't know which direction the cattle were going in.
Yeah.
Right. I'd probably say retrace.
That's what I'm leaning towards. What do you think, E?
I said, yeah. I don't know. Like,
for like the urine idea.
I'm thinking drink your pee. I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying, like, if worse comes to worst, like,
not that there's anything wrong with it.
I feel like you're close to death though if you're thinking, okay, I have to drink my pee now. You know, like that's not a good sign.
Yeah, but that
and I mean, if
there's no water out there, that thing's nuts. All right, we got to speed this up. Let's pick one. You guys pick.
You both like retrace your steps, so let's do that one.
All right, we'll do that.
Okay, so answer. You're picking B, rest in the shade, then retrace your steps to the last available water once the sun goes down. The correct answer is B. You are correct. So you're 3 for 3. And the notes in the answers say that while urine can be 95% water and only 5% waste, concentrated urine can increase thirst, mess up your electrolytes, and induce vomiting.
And we've all been dehydrated, and it's pretty concentrated at that point.
Yeah, and it also says that answer C, the finding a creek bed and start digging, that's a myth, that you're going to find the water table soon. And in terms of a cattle trail, it doesn't offer any advice about cattle trail, but as I was listening to you guys talk, I'm wondering, have you ever seen cattle walk single file? I'm not sure there's such thing as a cattle trail.
That's what I was saying. I wouldn't know a cattle trail from a goat trail.
Right. Okay, you guys are still alive. 3 for 3.
All right. How many of these other?
What?
How many of these other?
15.
Holy smoke.
All right, let's roll.
Yeah, we got to speed up our answer choices.
Okay, all right, here we go. 4, you're ready for the first rappel into a technical slot canyon, but the anchors mentioned in the route description aren't there. Is this a problem?
Yes.
A, no. Rappel on using something else as an anchor, but make sure your cell phone is charged in case anything goes wrong. B, not really a problem, but first check your bolt kit to be certain you have enough anchors to pound in wherever you might need them and find a good spot to establish the start of your own route. Or C, yes, it is a problem. Retrace your route until you find the anchors.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily a rappelling expert, but I don't think that's a good choice to go down if you don't have the right anchors.
Yeah, I'm going to go with C. I think C.
Yeah.
Okay, the answer is C. You guys are 4 for 4. Flash floods may have stripped anchors you need, or you might be in the wrong canyon. Either way, a slot canyon is usually a one-way trip, so make sure you can get through before proceeding.
All right. We're more repelling than we realized.
Questions number 5 and 6 are true and false, so you've got 50-50 chances here.
Good.
All right, number 5, true or false, hypothermia can be a risk in temperatures above 55 degrees.
If you're wet, probably.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, so I'll go true then. We'll go true.
Yeah, let's go true.
All right, the answer is true, especially if it's raining and windy. Just ask the Rangers and the Smokies, who see a surprising number of cases every spring. Very good.
That was you guys on Lady Forrester, your first time around on the JMT, right?
Yeah,
that's right, man. That was miserable.
But that was not above 55 degrees.
That's the best photo ever.
All right, number 6, true or false? You can use your analog watch as a compass.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
I can't, but I know people can.
Yeah.
True.
Because I think there's a magnet in it, I think.
All right. The answer.
You align the hands and the time and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
There's a way to do it.
The answer is false.
Really?
False. It says here that an analog watch can be used to find an approximate north and south during certain times of day, but it can't determine direction with enough accuracy for dependable navigation.
Okay. So that wasn't in your Lewis and Clark book, apparently.
No, they didn't have analog watches back in 1804.
They had to carry around a grandfather clock.
That's right. And
So
one quarter the whole way.
Just a big sundial.
All right, number 7. You're hiking in the Grand Canyon in 95-degree temperatures, and you've been drinking so much water your belly is sloshing. Still, you feel weak and tired. What will help? A, eat a salty snack, take electrolyte tablets, and sip an energy drink. B, nibble on some candy to keep your energy up. C, keep drinking. It's tough to stay hydrated in heat this severe. Or D, rest in the shade with your feet above your heart.
I was going to go for E, vomit profusely. That's
From self-experience, you've got self-experience there.
That's right.
Yeah,
I would say eat something salty and drink an energy drink. You probably just have so much water in your system, but like none of it's getting into your cells.
I agree. You were nodding on that one there, Jukebox?
Yeah, I go with A. I'm good with A.
Okay. You guys pick A, and the answer is A. You're probably getting hyponatremia, an electrolyte imbalance caused by heavy sweating, excessive water consumption, and lack of food and salt intake. You'll go into seizures and die if it progresses.
Didn't know that part, but okay.
Don't want to alarm you, but you guys barely avoided that one. Very good.
You better remember these answers for my future hikes.
Next time I'm hiking to the bottom of the Grand Canyon.
I'm going to print this and put it in our pack.
How come that wasn't an option for calling for rescue? That should have been an answer choice for the last question.
You think your head's going to explode and you can't breathe. Should I call a helicopter?
All right. So this is number 8. Like Brittany Woodrum, Bert, who I interviewed about her 14er experience in Colorado, you're scrambling up a steep Colorado 14er in June. The moves are fairly easy, but it's snowier than you expected, and you don't have an ice axe or crampons. You should, A, keep going for a few pitches to check out the route, then retreat if it seems too tough. B, go for it. The snow will soften in the sun as the day progresses, making the descent considerably safer.
No.
C,
glissade the whole way down.
C, glissade back down. Or D, retreat via the least snowy, least technical route you can find.
D.
What was A?
A, keep going for a few pitches to check out the route, then retreat if it seems too tough.
No.
Get out of there.
In June? I don't know. It depends on how close you are to the top and what you can see.
That wasn't an option.
The correct answer is to retreat.
I think because it's snowier than you thought, it's probably just swallow your pride and get off of it.
All of us would keep going.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Get in trouble, but I think the correct answer is to retreat.
Chopper, you can't say that on a podcast like this. We're gonna get a nasty review saying we're encouraging people to do the wrong thing out there. Someone's gonna get in a snit about this. So
I'm pretty sure that's already happened with me.
That's what I'm saying though. Backpacker.com is not going to be advocating for risk takers on this this quiz here.
I think retreat is going to be the appropriate response.
All right, so you guys pick D, and that is the correct answer. It's easier to fall on a descent, even in soft snow, and you have no tools with which to self-arrest.
There you go.
Okay.
Less fun, but appropriate.
Yeah.
I mean, plus at 14, your brain's not making great decisions with that amount of oxygen.
Good point.
Okay, number 9. Ooh, this is a good one. A cottonmouth just sank its fangs into your girlfriend's ankle.
Like the start of a bad joke.
Wow. After calming her, you should immediately, A, tie a tourniquet just below her knee to keep the poison from reaching her heart. B, make a deep X cut at the site of the bite and start sucking. C, have her do jumping jacks to work the venom out of her system. D, keep her lying down and calm and send for help. E, attach a suction cup venom extractor and pump away.
You just have one of those?
No experience with a venom extractor, so I'm not sure if that's a real thing or not.
I am going to rule this question unanswerable because of the pretense in the question itself. It says your girlfriend is calmed down. So I don't think that there's any real answer here. This is all just pretend.
Your girlfriend is blaming you at this point for dragging her on this hike, and now she's in this situation.
Yeah, and you don't know if you're 2 minutes from the bus stop or if you're 20 miles deep too.
Yeah, you should definitely not suck it out. I know that for sure.
And probably not on the jumping jacks.
No, because that just gets it to your heart.
Is a venom sucker extractor a real thing? I have no idea.
First I've heard of that.
That comes.
I don't have that in my pack.
No.
What's the tourniquet answer choice? What does it just say? Apply a tourniquet.
So it sounds like you've narrowed it down to two. Either A, tie a tourniquet just below her knee to keep the poison from reaching her heart, or D, keep her lying down and calm and send for help.
I think D is my personal guess.
Yeah, just because the tourniquet option doesn't have the and call for help option at the end of it. So
it's I think calling for help is probably the biggest.
Let's call for help.
Okay.
I would do both probably, but
all right. So the correct answer is D. That's correct. You guys are right. Keeping the victim immobile slows the diffusion of the venom into the system and minimizes the risk of shock until you can arrange evacuation for anti-venom treatment. Snake bites are rarely fatal, but some people suffer serious limb dysfunction afterward.
Doc, I have a trivia question for the crew right now because I researched this myself during the pandemic.
All right.
In the United States, this is all three of you can answer, and the closest answer without going over will win. In the United States, how many people per year are killed by venomous snakes?
You just happened to research this for the heck of it?
Yes, I did.
Venomous snakes. Is it number of people? Number of people.
Number of people in the United States.
I'm going to say 15.
I was going to say 5.
I was going to say, yeah. So Doc said 15. I think it's a little higher, so I'll say 16 just to knock him out.
Oh, you suck.
And then I'm playing the Price is Right. Let's do 5.
Okay, so wait, what are the answers? Doc, you said what?
15.
I said 16. And
you had said 16 and E said 5. Big E is the winner. About 5 people every year in the United States die from venomous snake bites, which is a number far smaller than I would have imagined.
It's I think that's one of those statistics where it's like more people die from getting hit on the head with a coconut than a shark bite type thing.
Yeah. Die is the key. I think most people don't die.
7,000 to 8,000 get bit a year.
Yeah. There you
and
go.
only 5 die.
I was going to say there's about 3,000 hikers who do the PCT each year, and they start off in the desert for the first 700 miles. There's got to be a lot of snakes out there. I would figure at least 5 of them die a year.
But they don't die.
No, evidently not. So very good. All right.
Resilient.
Moving on from the snake trivia. Number 10, you're at the trailhead, and the box for self-registration is empty. You know, like the Baldy and Cucamonga,
right?
Yep.
Right? So the box for self-registration is empty. You haven't told anyone where you're going or how long you'll be gone. Walk on? That's the question. A, sure. John Muir never had anybody tracking him. B, yep, but leave a note on your dashboard with your trip plan and expected return and pack your cell phone. C, not so fast. Visit or call the nearest ranger station first to report your expected route and return date. Or D, yes, with caution. As a veteran hiker, you can count on years of backcountry experience to get you through.
So this is the politically correct one would be to go back and check in with the ranger, but I think most people would just leave a note on their dashboard and go.
Yeah, I think technically the National Forest Service wants us to say go tell a ranger.
I would say C as well. I'm locking in with C.
Locking in with C? Well, you had some flexibility here. So B and C are both good ideas, especially C.
All right.
No ranger to call. You can also phone a friend instead and let them know. So
that's it. Like speaking of 127 hours.
Right. So we'll give you a correct answer on that one. All right. On to number 11. You just hiked to 11,000 feet. So let's say, was that Donahue Pass or Muir Pass?
Yeah.
After pitching camp, you develop a pounding headache.
Chopper,
you know what this is like? What's the cure for this classic case of altitude sickness? A, guzzle a liter of water. D, do some light exercise around camp to get your respiration and heart rate up. C, break camp and descend to a lower elevation before sleeping. D, take 200 milligram of ibuprofen. E, could be A and B, or F, A, B, and C.
Oh crap.
Okay.
E is vomit profusely. You're supposed to descend. So what letter was that?
That was C.
I think you're also supposed to
definitely
drink.
one of the answers.
I think you're also supposed to drink water,
That was A.
right?
So is E or F include A and C? Which one?
Yeah, F includes A, B, and C.
What was
And
B?
what's B?
B is do some light exercises around camp to get your respiration and heart rate up.
That one's wrong. So I'm going to go with the descent.
Yeah.
Set up camp lower.
What is E? What is E again?
A and B.
A and B.
Okay, so it's not that one. We know it's
C's
Okay,
the correct answer.
descent. Yeah.
So get down.
That's why I got helicoptered out, because that's where the ranger's like, you have to go down, and you're between two 12,000-foot passes.
Oh, look at you using life experience.
I was the only one to remember, talking to the ranger. These two yahoos were running around doing calisthenics.
So I feel bad for you guys because the answer was F, A, B, and C.
Really?
Yeah, it says dehydration is often a factor in early
Right.
altitude symptoms, so guzzle
Yeah.
away. A sudden drop-off in physical activity can also lead to headaches. A bit of exercise will draw more oxygen into your system. Although I couldn't imagine Chopper doing
Like,
some
oh,
jumping
yeah.
jacks in his
No.
condition.
I
in that
could barely
Mineral
do it.
King. And then if the ache doesn't abate within an hour or two, the best treatment is to descend to a descent of 1,000 to 2,000.
Yeah.
I'm going to file a protest on that one.
All right. Protest
Pop-
lodged.
Pop a couple Advil, you're fine.
This shows that it wasn't rigged, though. We weren't given these answers. We were correct, and we were 100% until that question. So
Yeah. No, you missed
No,
question
we
number
missed the
6
true
too.
or false or
what was
something.
that one?
Oh, the
The analog watch. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
That was on
Got it.
me. All right.
Okay, number 12. Number 12. Moving on, complainers. Number 12. Assume spinal injury and immobilize an injured patient whenever he or she has A, taken a long tumble, B, feels numbness in extremities, C, feels back or torso pain, D, has been knocked out from a serious blow to the head, or E, all of the above.
all of the above.
What was the question again?
Assume spinal injury and immobilize an injured patient whenever.
I don't
okay.
know. My back is hurt so many times just, schlepping a bag around and doing all
Yeah.
that stuff. Just back pain is not necessarily a spinal injury.
And the extremities.
But-
I feel like we all lose feeling in our extremities at some point or another on the trail, right?
But the tumble and the
tumble
head
for-
injury for sure.
Well, the head injury is not necessarily a spinal issue.
Sure.
I do precautionary immobilization of myself any chance I get.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And then turn on something on YouTube.
I did that when I walk up my stairs.
I'm gonna go with the tumble and fall personally, but you get
Yeah.
The
No, I
number.
think so.
All right, let me read it one more time, guys. Assume spinal injury and immobilize an injured patient. So the patient has been injured.
So then,
An injury has occurred. Whenever he or she has taken a long tumble, feels numbness in extremities after an injury, feels
After.
back or torso pain after an injury, has been knocked out from a serious blow to the head, or E, all of the above.
I'm
All right, are
Okay.
you trying to give us the answer? Or are you trying to make us feel stupid?
I
Now
felt
it's E.
I felt
All
bad
right?
about last question.
Okay, it's E.
yeah, after an injury, definitely.
Yeah, E, that's correct. And just to be safe, assume the worst if your friend displays any signs of head injury, which include vision or speaking problems, confusion, bleeding from the ears, motor skills impairment, etc.
I mean, half of those you get at mile 15 anyway.
That's right.
But I was also gonna say like
Not the bleeding of the ears.
yeah. Well, I said half.
That's
But it's also like the next hike we go and I roll my ankle, you guys are gonna be like, no, you tackle me and make sure
get his
my
spine.
spine is immobilized.
Immobilize.
You carry him. No, you carry him.
I'm not carrying him. All right, number 13. You suddenly realize you're lost in deep forest. What's the way out of this fix? A, follow the closest creek downstream until it meets a river, because rivers always lead to civilization.
Mm.
B, find shelter, stay warm and dry, and wait for rescue. C, note your location and surrounding landmarks carefully, then retrace your steps to the last point where you knew you were on the route. D, call 911 for directions on your cell phone.
Okay, so it's not D.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess it's C because several of these were retrace your steps.
Yeah. And landmarks.
Yeah, I like C.
Yeah.
All right. C is, the answer is C. And if that doesn't work, go with B, which was find shelter, stay warm and dry, and wait for rescue. And A, it says, is a myth about rivers always leading to civilization.
I remember.
Doc. Oh, go ahead, Biggie.
I was going to say that I listened to a ton of true crime podcasts, and there was one about these two girls getting lost, and I think in like Colombia or something like that. And it was they tried to do that and got swept away by a river and a flood type thing. So that's definitely not a good path.
And Chopper and Doc, after Chopper was choppered out of the Mineral King route, Doc, we actually got lost on the trail for a bit. We weren't on the trail, and I don't know what we did. We kind of just kept hiking around until we found it. But it wasn't quite deep, dark forest at that point, but we were kind of lost. I think we looked at your iPhone satellite map or something like that.
Yeah, the ranger actually told us, just keep walking that way. You're going to intersect the trail. Well, we kept walking that way and never found the trail. And we kind of had to go back and forth until we did. So
at that point, I was ready to get choppered out too. I was like, let's just get out of here.
I think when they told you couldn't ride out with me, you were more disappointed than anybody.
A little bit. I don't know what it was. When you see one of your comrades pack it up and head out, you're like, I got to go too. It's just a package deal.
You were like, I'm done.
All right. 2 questions left, guys. Number 14, your youth group just summited Mount Marcy, and some of the kids are descending faster than others. As a leader, should you round them up? A. Relax and enjoy the hike. The kids might get spread out, but all they have to do is drop back down the same way they came. Besides, you have an adult with a 2-way radio sweeping the trail. B, so the question is, should you round them up? B, sort of. Split the adult chaperones to form 2 distinct hiking groups. C, yes, by telling the slow kids to cut the switchbacks so they can keep up. D, D, yes, keep everybody together. That's the deal, and you told them so at the start.
Yeah.
D. That's politically correct.
No child left behind.
Boy, that was a softball. D is correct. Dividing the group into 2 parties reduces your manpower in the event of an emergency, and letting the group string out along the trail increases the risk that someone will make a wrong turn on a side trail. Always keep them tight.
C would have been a Spartan race guy's answer. Cut the switchbacks.
That's right.
Chubby kids, get up there.
I said that Buddy would have a different opinion coming down from Donahue into Tuolumne Meadows, just pew, taking off.
Take off. I'll meet you at the end.
Yeah, and he found a shower.
Yeah, in the wrong camp.
Yeah.
Well, we did that last year. Ian and I were up
Yeah.
at Mount San Bernardino, and we were coming down. We ran into this group of parents and kids, and they were way away from the campsite. And they were like, "Yeah, we're out of water. Where should we go?" And we're like, "You should go back to the campsite."
Oh, that was
Backpacker.com would say retrace your steps.
Yeah, and the kids look miserable. The leader,
round them up.
Dad was confused.
All right, last question. Back out into the snow. The most common avalanche snow condition is A, hard packed snow, B, wet slush, C, old wind crust, or D, fresh wind drifted snow.
I don't even know the last 2 answers. I can't even.
Because it's like usually on those cornices that come up like.
Yeah, I was gonna say C or D. It's either like crusty or like brand new powder.
I think it's the wind. What was D? Say that again, Doc.
So C is old wind crust, and D is fresh wind drifted snow.
I'm gonna say fresh.
I think I'm guessing fresh. That's just a guess.
We don't live in an area that gets snow, so
Big E and Chopper have said fresh, and Jukebox just looks confused.
I'll go with whatever my fellow test takers want.
Those are testes to you.
Okay, testes.
Hey.
I didn't even realize that till I said it. Joke's on me. Okay. Testes.
All right. Hey, the correct answer is D. You guys are correct. Most avalanches occur during or shortly after storms in areas where wind drift has created pillows of wind-stiffened snow overlying a weak, unconsolidated layer. But instability can last for days, and avalanches can occur in other conditions too. So watch out. So that's good. You guys were 13 out of 15. 13 out of 15 correct answers. So I would say that 2 of the 3 of you would have survived this trip.
That's right.
It's good enough.
Yeah, we're good.
Congratulations.
We don't know the survival rate of those other answers that we got wrong. I mean, one of them was using a compass. That wasn't really life or death. That was just a true-false question we got wrong. So
You had 50-50 chance, and you got it wrong.
that
It
might not be life or death.
North, south, whatever it takes.
Landmark. I would have landmarked it. There you go.
East. I thought you said west.
Alrighty.
All right. Hey, we've gone south here. Speaking of south, it's gone south. We're going to take another quick bathroom break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some possibilities for some upcoming adventures in the near future, hopefully. So stay tuned for that. We'll be right back. And welcome back. I'm really proud of you guys. Most of you survived that backpacking quiz.
Most.
Live to tell another story, another day. So, hey, speaking of another day and more stories, let's talk about possible upcoming adventures. You guys have any ideas for future trips for us or for yourselves?
Well, we're always looking for new things to do. E has not finished the southern half of the JMT, so that's been on our list of things to do. And obviously got to get through pandemics and such and get the websites open to get the permits. I'm guessing it's going to be tough this year because so many people got displaced by fires that there's going to be a lot of people trying to get back in on the trail. So that might be a little tough getting permits.
Yeah. I would. The southern half of the JMT is just absolutely gorgeous. I love the amount of time you spend over 10,000 feet, and I think the scenery is just fantastic.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do it for years.
I'm real jealous. If you wouldn't mind, if it doesn't crimp your plans,
throw in an extra.
Throw in an extra. I'll find a way to get out there with you.
I was just about to say, if this was bigger, if this was possibly expanded from a 2-person familial journey, then I would definitely be interested in doing the southern half again. That was a lot of fun.
Well, we might go for 6 permit slots and see what comes up.
Yeah, because
a couple buddies too.
Yeah, a couple buddies that one of them I took for the first time on that trip that we did up to Glen Allen. He's been shown interest, and then my college roommate, who I just spent a weekend in Sequoia National Park with, a college roommate, he's interested in doing it too. So we may have a whole posse going.
Yeah, that'd be great. I love that part of the trip. And speaking of unfinished business, Jukebox still has to finish from Tuolumne to Happy Isles. So we got to find a weekend to get that done.
It's like majority downhill. Just don't do it in September when we almost ran out of water.
Well, it's looking like this is going to be a dry year. So I think our southbound trip might be pretty good for that.
Yeah. Also, I had a chance for our 30th anniversary. We went up to Tahoe and we did a little bit. I stepped on the Tahoe Rim Trail for a little bit while I was up there and did some research on that. And that seems like it would be a pretty fun trip. Might have to break it up into 2 summers.
Because that's a full loop, right?
Yeah, it circumnavigates the lake. It's 170 miles and goes from about 6,200 feet at its low point to 10,300 feet at its high point.
That's manageable. And that Desolation Wilderness is up there too. There's tons of trails there.
Yeah.
And Doc, didn't you say a possible upcoming camping trip in the Mojave somewhere? What was that about?
Yeah, I was thinking about just getting out and seeing some stars. And I did some research looking for campsites, and there was this place called Hole in the Wall, which is not necessarily a backpacking destination. It's more of a car camping destination, but there are all kinds of trails out there, I guess. But I think
you find it on Craigslist?
Yes. Yeah. It was on the dark web.
So it's listed on Hip Camp.
Well, E, when you were just up at Sequoia, were all the campsites open, or were things?
Yeah, no. Where we stayed at the bottom of the hill, it was every other campsite was there, but it was completely full. But I booked it probably 3 weeks in advance, so
Okay, that's not so bad.
it's accessible. Yeah, and as I said, Doc, if you want to do some desert stuff, I live pretty close to Joshua Tree. If you want to head out here.
I was looking there too. Yeah, all the
Yeah.
campsites were full. The hole in the wall, for whatever reason, it wasn't full. So
Yeah.
There might be
I wonder why.
Maybe that's the hint.
but I think in our current state of affairs, I think that all national and state park campsites are only open for day use, not overnight use. I think all overnight reservations have been canceled at this point.
Yes. My roommate just got a bunch of things kicked back to him from a trip he was going to be taking in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, Chopper and Big E, I would strongly suggest you guys think about doing the Trans Catalina Trail. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm interested in that.
What did that take you? A total of 2 days?
3.
3 days, 2 nights?
3 nights.
Okay.
Very nice. Okay, that's doable.
That's one. It's like also if you enjoy, backpacking and be outdoors, but maybe like most people do, hate climbing up all the way to these mountains. It's definitely a hike where I felt like I enjoyed all the fun aspects of the JMT as far as like being around campfires and being in outdoors, but not necessarily having to, summit the Golden Staircase in Mathers Pass and back-to-back attempts.
It doesn't crush you the same way.
No, it doesn't crush your spirits. It's definitely for more novice outdoors men and women, but a beautiful hike. And kind of by the 4th day, you're just like, man, I really don't want to leave. I'm kind of hitting that sweet spot,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And no altitude sickness.
Right.
But I get seasick too, so that's a problem. Got to
Yeah.
get out there. It's an island.
Yeah, because the island is really moving around in the waves.
It's in the middle of the ocean. It's got to be bobbing up and down.
Yeah, Chopper,
Yeah.
you and I, and actually all four of us did part of the High Sierra Trail. I'd like to do the full High Sierra Trail. We did Bear Paw Meadow
agree.
to Hamilton Lakes.
Hamilton.
And
We went up to Precipice. Yeah.
Yep. I'd like to do that full trip. That sounds like a really fun trip.
I just don't want to go underneath that ice slide with a full pack on type thing.
Right.
Hopefully that won't be there.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing we got to balance is the rest of our families, because Mrs. Chopper's like, okay, that's fine and dandy, but what about my vacation?
Right.
Yeah.
That's a common that's a theme that runs through our households. That's
Yep.
right.
Well, I think it was when we went up to High Sierra Trail. My wife and my daughter said, you know what, screw it, we're going to go down to Mexico while you guys are gone. So they were down in Where
They were in Cabo.
They went to Cabo, yeah.
Yeah.
They showed you.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Right.
We all came home very happy, so it was a win-win.
Doc, you better pray I'm never given that option between you and Mrs. Doc, because I would be in Cabo. So no offense to our listeners out there, but I'd probably be in Cabo.
Nice. And then I've talked to Steele Carter. He was a guest on one of the episodes, and he lives up in Washington and was raving, and I've heard other people rave about the Wonderland Trail that goes around is it Shasta? Not Shasta. Rainier.
Rainier. Yeah.
Yeah, it goes around Rainier.
And I know it's a bit of a stretch, but those Patagonia trips, that was it the W and the Q.
Yeah. The W Trail.
Yeah.
But getting down there's a bit of a trek.
Yeah. Any
Yeah.
interest in Everest Base Camp?
No.
No?
After reading Into Thin Air, I was like, nope, I have no.
Not Everest.
Everything about that just sounds horrid.
Not all the way up to Everest, just Everest Base Camp. That's like
No, I know, but it's like-
18,000 feet.
Doesn't matter.
You're out and it's just you're baking in the sun, and then you're smelling everything that they're burning from the dung, and you can't get it out. It just sounds horrid.
The literal poo slides that they're describing of all of the waste up on the mountain slowly sliding down. I don't really want to go there.
Machu Picchu's on the list.
Yep.
I think you can get Mrs. Chopper to do that one.
Yeah, I definitely want to go down to the.
Because it includes porters.
Patagonia is a big one. Definitely want to go down there.
Yeah.
And just because bucket list type thing, it would be really cool to go to the Alps, just to cruise around, hike around the Alps.
Yeah, especially after you and I read that Beneath the Scarlet Sky
Right.
of a kid in the Italian. It was It's kind of like
yeah.
It's kind of like a fictionalized version of this kid's story. And he grew up in Milan in the 40s and was living in an abbey in the Alps and was being a mountaineer guide for Jews escaping into Switzerland.
His dad sent him to this abbey up in the Alps to get away from Milan and the Nazis, and he just kind of jumped into taking these people over the trails, and he would be the guide up and over into Switzerland. It's a cool story. If you ever, you should check it out.
That sounds like a great adventure media suggestion that you left out earlier.
Well, I mean, it doesn't focus. There's only maybe the first quarter of the book is about.
Yeah, I'd say like first quarter or third, and then the rest of it, he becomes a driver for a Nazi general and is like feeding information to the resistance.
It's a crazy story. It's a true story, but it's like you wouldn't believe the majority of the things that happen in this kid's life. It's just nuts.
Wow.
It's very unbelievable.
It's a good read.
My last suggestion for a possible future trip, shouldn't be my last, but the last one this episode is the Lost Coast.
Yes, that would be fun.
I was going to bring that up, Doc, but didn't you say that some guy told you he hiked on that and it kind of sucked because it was all sand and really hard to walk on, or no?
I've had a couple of people on talking about it, and one guy wasn't too fond of it, but the other guy just raved about it. So I don't know. I'd like to experience. I love the ocean, nearby on the hikes, like on the Trans-Catalina Trail. That was pretty cool.
Everything
I've paid attention to the tides because there's some areas where you have to go low tide and to get around corners and stuff.
Yeah, very strategic.
And going to the bathroom, you have to really count your steps to get away from the high tide line.
They actually recommend that you dig your cat hole in the sand.
Yeah.
Buddy had one he was throwing out there to us about, was it Dinky Lakes or Dinky Lake Loop or something like that?
That's right. Yep.
Near Lake Florence, where we started the John Muir Trail.
Mm-hmm.
Both times. There's so many things up in the Sierra, so many different choices. It's whether you want to do a long weekend, like the one that we did for the Glen Allen Loop. It was a great long weekend one.
Yeah.
Wasn't too hard, easy to get in and out.
While we're on the topic of, we've kind of talked about bucket list destinations and hiking ideas. Two places I would really, really, really love to go to, but also kind of nervous because of wildlife and creatures that we necessarily don't have in California, and that is in the Yellowstone area. I want to go to Yellowstone very badly and explore and go on hikes in there, but I know that they have grizzlies and other dense populations of predators. And then also, just kind of back to the topic of Lewis and Clark, the Blue Ridge Mountains in West Virginia and Virginia in that area. I would love to go visit there and just see what that's all about, because I feel like it's a type of outdoors that we're not even used to here in our Sierra mountains. So
the stuff back east, everybody says there's two things. It's very wet, and two is there's so many trees. And I know, Doc, you've interviewed a couple people who did the AT. You don't get the same views. You're in the forest.
You're in the green tunnel.
And Jukebox, just a recommendation to you, if you go to Yellowstone, I would even more recommend the Tetons.
Absolutely, yeah. I was going to say the same thing.
The Yellowstone's great. Yellowstone, like, you go around and you experience crazy microclimates everywhere, but like you go to the Tetons and they're just unbelievable. And less populated too. But
they're so severe the way they just pop up. I think they're much more striking than the stuff you see in Yellowstone. But that's just personal opinion. You're going to get some hate mail on that one too, Doc.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Have fun with that one.
But yeah, we know somebody climbed to the top of the Grand Teton, and she said it was one of the coolest trips that she's done.
Yeah, we still got to do that.
It's very manageable.
Jukebox, I want you to go to the Grand Tetons, go to Jackson Hole, start in Jackson Hole, and do the picnic. The picnic is a race devised by a guy out there, and Mike Chambers talked about it in his episode.
Oh, yeah, I heard about this.
God, is everything a damn race in this thing? Is it?
Yeah, everything.
Anything?
You should know that by now.
Yeah.
Hey, it's one of those things of, we're already out there, might as well just be the fastest person or craziest person out there.
So let me tell you what the picnic is. It's a race against yourself, really. You bike for, 15, 20 miles out of town. So you get to this lake, Jenny Lake. You swim 2 miles across the lake. You get out of the lake. You then climb to the top of the Grand Teton, and then you turn around and go back the same way.
That was the guy. What was his show called? It's what you can do in a weekend.
That's right. Beat Monday.
Beat Monday.
Mike Chambers.
Everything he does is what I can do in basically 48 hours.
Right. Yeah.
You know what? That's convenient because the Lady Jukebox has a friend whose family owns property in Jackson Hole, which might be a possible destination for one of these journeys.
Bringing that up. You should have brought that up at the beginning.
Dude,
what should have led with that?
I don't know what the friend thinks of Jukebox, or there's a lot of barriers.
Hey, have the friend
Jackson Hole.
Have the friend listen to the podcast. You'll be in like Flynn.
Yeah, and
I'll refer it.
And once you have the inn, we don't even have to stay at the place. We can pitch tents on the property. We'll be fine.
True, very true. What could go wrong in pitching tents out there?
We don't
right?
even use the bathroom. We're all good.
We've got our shovels.
That's right. every episode, we got to go back to that, don't we?
That's right. That's right. Every episode.
We'll collapsible travel.
Hey, guys, you know where we are right now?
Time to get another beer.
Pro tip of the week. What is it? Hiker tip of the week?
Pro tip inside of the week. What do we have to share with our listeners? What can they learn from us?
Retrace your steps and find a landmark? I don't know.
That's what I was going to say. We made a lot of fun about those that questionnaire, but it's don't be stupid.
Yeah, we've got a sponsor this episode. That's the backpacker.com pro tip inside of the week. Retrace your steps and find a landmark.
Yeah, I mean, we joke about it all the time, but it's like, don't be stupid. Don't get yourself in trouble. And if you get in trouble, just calm down, turn around, and figure out where you came from and get back to something safe.
Yeah. All right, that's the lip service to reasonable behavior. We haven't always followed that advice ourselves, though.
No.
Never.
And the other thing is, you know what? It's been a weird year, so let's make next year a lot more fun. Everybody get out, go out and do stuff, whatever it is, and just get out of the house.
And I think we need to end this 50th episode, the season finale for season 1 on the JFM pod. I think we need to end it with our 4 favorite memories, one each from us, favorite memories from the trail, from the John Muir Trail.
I'm glad you didn't say from all the episodes.
No. Your favorite memory from each of the first 49 episodes.
Right.
No. Your favorite memory from the John Muir Trail.
Waking up the morning of spending the night at Wanda Lake, because it was a miserable day before and a super windy night, and then just sitting out there on the rocks and the sun coming up. It was one of my best moments, and I go back to that all the time.
Yeah, nice. I will go with, and this might surprise you, Chopper. I'm going to go with that night that we spent at Tyndall Frog Ponds.
With the storm?
With the storm, where there was not a cloud in the sky when we were eating dinner. And I actually debated on whether or not to put the rain fly on, but I did. And shortly after we turned into our tents, this storm rolled in, and it was rolling thunder up and down.
That was very cool.
Up and down the valley, and it got closer and closer, and it was a miserable night, make no mistake. But it eventually, the flash of lightning and the thunderclap of lightning, thunderclap of thunder happened simultaneously. And the storm was right on top of us. And when we got up the next morning with like 10 minutes of sleep, kind of looking at each other, we were amazed that we were still alive. And sure enough, the ranger confirmed that, man, that's the worst storm that she's ever been in. And she's been out there for 15 years. So I think that was quite an achievement to survive that storm.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. That was one of my favorite times out there. And in the middle of it, it was frightening. But the next day, it was great.
Yeah.
I would say my favorite memory on the trail is with all 3 of you and Buddy and Skids. When we, the day after, Buddy got pretty upset with that hiker who said, "Oh, it's just right over, this is right over there," or whatever he was saying. And after that night, I think it was Pigeon something. What was it called? The campsite? I don't remember.
Quail Meadows.
Quail Meadows.
Meadows.
Yeah, Quail Meadows. So from when we hiked to Quail Meadows that day, when we went up, we climbed up. We saw the guy crossing the creek with his dog. Remember, he was carrying the dog. We ended up going up to Silver Pass. We had lunch at Silver Pass. We're sitting up there looking at the opening. Skids claimed he saw the lone Indian out there. Remember on the way down, he said he saw it, and we ended up climbing down. I think we ended up at Tully Hole at the end of that day, and that was that was an awesome day on the trail, I would have to say.
Yeah. it doesn't, I don't know if it technically counts as the trail, but the last day on that trip, when we got caught in that hailstorm and we sprint down the mountain to catch the last bus into Mammoth Lakes, we have to flag down the bus driver who's just trying to go home to take us into town. Skids picks us up in his truck, and we go to that pizza parlor, and we reek. They throw us in a corner, and we just start laughing and just joking about it. And I think, and Buddy and I said a joke to each other, and I had just Dr. Pepper just running out of my nose.
It was, you know what the joke was, Biggie? It was the pizza was called the Masterpiece, and you said, "Hey,
That's what she said.
buddy, can you masterpiece me?"
Yeah, that was it. It was, yeah. Can you masterpiece me? And Dr. Pepper ran out of my nose.
Some incredible moments, and you know what? We don't get those moments unless we're out on the trail. So, another big pro tip to our listeners: get off your couches, turn off the podcast, and go live some adventure out there.
All right, nature's great, especially in a quarantine.
So there you have it. That's it. Episode 50 and season 1 are in the books.
You mean it this time?
What's that?
You mean it this time?
I mean it this time.
Okay,
yes.
all right.
Because I've already recorded other episodes that start off with "Welcome to Season 2, Episode 1."
You've already pigeonholed yourself.
That's right. This is the last episode of the season. So, where was I? I hope our listeners enjoyed our time with our group of trail misfits, and I want to thank them for joining us this week. Any comments, guys?
No, it's been a great time. Glad we could be part of it.
Just a final plug, and I want to know from the listeners, the large following that Doc has on the JFM pod. I haven't used hiking boots in a while, and my old hiking boots I think they're time to get thrown away. So give me some recommendations for trail shoes, trail boots, what I should wear from now on. You know, there's some holidays coming up, maybe a potential gift. So let me know what you think Jukebox should put on the feet next time he gets out on the trail.
Crocs.
Yeah, there you go. Chacos.
All right. Remember to check out the pod on social media. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you have comments or clips you want to share, you can send it to me at johnfreakinmuir@gmail.com. Also, if you are enjoying the podcast, take just a minute and help us out. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're not enjoying the pod, well, just go ahead and keep that to yourself. Right, guys?
Absolutely.
That's a wrap from the John Freakin Muir studio. Guys, let's end the episode and the first season with some New Year's resolutions, since this episode will air in January. What do you resolve to do?
I'm going to make the plan for Patagonia.
Oh, wow. He spoke it into existence. Here we go.
Mrs. Chopper will not be happy.
Oh, but Big E will be.
New Year's resolution is finish the JMT. I got a little portion left. That's my New Year's resolution. Get out there and finish it.
I got a bigger portion, but I'm going to finish the southern half.
There we go.
How about you, Todd?
Oh, I am going to commit to making plans and doing my research to do the Tahoe Rim Trail.
All right.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right. Thank you for tuning in. Always remember, the trail is the trail. Doesn't care if you want to go downhill. Doesn't care if it's almost dark and you're looking for a campsite. The trail is the trail. Embrace the suck.